Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And we have a great show for you guys today. Back again after another hiatus. I think it was only a 1 week hiatus this week. COVID just has ruined this podcast for the past month and a half.
There's only two of us and it's 2 for 2.
Yeah, I swear, man. Absolutely ridiculous. But we are back. The wild card round of the playoffs has already happened. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the coaching changes, although I'm still a little salty, and it did mostly happen last week, so it feels like that news is kind of come and gone for us, and we just missed our chance to talk about it too much. But really, the meat of this show is, we're going to hop on bovadasportsbook.com and really look at all of the different bets and odds that we have on not only this week, but moving forward into the Super Bowl. We're going to be a little bit of some gambling. We're going to have a gambling problem this week with this pod. I mean, sure. Heavy on it. And what I like to do, because you kind of you have a good way of telling me I'm crazy a little bit with some of the odds, because I get excited by the possibilities, and I've done it all year this year, and I've lost all year this year. So it's going to be a nice little balancing act of let me get excited and you tell everyone not to follow me.
Pull you back down.
Exactly.
Just a tad,
exactly. Let's get into it. First of all, I do want to touch on the coaching hires. Both of our teams lost their head coach. You were really excited about your head coach leaving. I was the opposite of that feeling about my head coach leaving. So, I'm going to leave it at that and I'll let you go.
Man, I was so I'll go to yours first, then I'll get back to mine. I was shocked, wasn't even the word that I could come to in the beginning. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was one of those things that, you see all the jokes and memes that get put out nowadays, and it looks so real. And it was literally a picture of Brian Flores, Dolphins logo behind him, and said fired. And I was like, there's no way. What makes sense to that? If anything, going 1-7 and then being able to find something to build upon and have a late playoff push like y'all did was very impressive to me. And the year before, 10 wins, was that right?
Yep. 10 wins, missed the playoffs, but 10 wins in a 16-game season.
I'll let you go really, really deep into it for your team, because I'll get on to mine in just a sec. But I do believe Tua was the main factor behind all of that. So
the owner wants Tua to be the starter next year and the future of the franchise.
And Flores thought that they should go a different direction.
Yeah, and I've never really been a Tua lover. This past year has kind of entrenched me in my hate for it. And hate's a strong. I use that very much in the we're talking about a game. It's not real. I get that. I hate him in that sense, not in the person or anything like that sense. I want to, I want to verify, be clear a little bit when you're speaking into a microphone. I don't want somebody to hear what I'm not saying. But long story short, I did think this should have been Tua's final year. I don't think there's any reason to keep moving forward. That's my personal opinion. If you're a Dolphins fan or just a fan of football that disagrees, that's fine. Either way, to lose your coach over Tua feels like the dumbest thing you could do. I'm having flashbacks to the year we had Nick Saban. Nick Saban had the choice between Dante Culpepper and Drew Brees. Picked the wrong quarterback. Drew Brees goes down to New Orleans. We hold on to Dante Culpepper for a couple years. We know how it worked out for New Orleans. Yeah. Nick Saban was in Alabama the next year. So I'm having a little bit of flashbacks to that. I'm just absolutely petrified that Brian Flores is going to be very, very successful wherever he goes. Not even petrified. I'll be rooting for him because I don't, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault he wanted to take the team in another direction.
Yeah, it is what it is. Very unfortunate. I think he's automatically the top coaching hire. The only downside, if you're hiring him, he's going to stand by his beliefs and he's going to want a certain level of power in the organization, which I think every coach has the right to want.
I think that's fair, though.
Especially if you have 3 years under your belt of turning absolute garbage organization into a winning football team, a top 10 defense, and an offense that really did feel like we were a couple offensive linemen and a legitimate star quarterback away from being dangerous. So it is unfortunate. That's my
I think you should go to the Texans right off the top of my head, just because of how outspoken he was in the pursuit of Deshaun Watson, how much he really wanted him. I think that if there's any way for the Texans to be able to mend that huge rift between Deshaun Watson and the Texans organization, Brian Flores might be the guy to do it. Now, as a Vikings fan, us letting go of Mike Zimmer, and we let go of our general manager, Rick Spielman, too, it was time. It was a breath of fresh air. These two had been together for 8 years. A lot of continuity together. One of the longest tenured coaches in the league in Mike Zimmer. A lot of good moments, too, and memories. They won the division 3 years out of the 8, an NFC championship appearance. Things didn't really go the way it was, and I would say the peak The ultimate peak was the Case Keenum Minneapolis Miracle, of course.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And it was the following seasons of seeing us just go downhill after the Kirk Cousins signing. I like Kirk a lot. I really do. I think that he is a quarterback who sits from about, 15 to 8, and he'll kind of hover up and down, if you will, from there. But nowadays in the league, and I think it's more prevalent now than ever, if you don't have a true top 5 guy who can come in and week out and really elevate everyone around you, not just have a game like Kirk's capable of. Kirk can throw for 350, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and have a good stat line.
Oh, for sure.
But really be able to command the team, have, I saw Zimmer say something after the fact saying about the way Kirk carries himself. He's not very vocal. He'll get hyped sometimes, but some guys kind of think he's weird because he doesn't really cuss. He doesn't really get like into it. I'm not saying you have to cuss in order to do that and lead appropriate way, but it just really didn't sound like he has control of the locker room. I hope whoever the next guy that gets in there, they're able to restructure that or just get rid of Kirk altogether. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think
it's hard for me to say that, but I'm
tired
of it.
And when you said 15 to 8, I think that was really true when he first got into the league, and I think there was a real argument that he was, and fairly consistently on the 8 side of it.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we've just seen too many guys go into the league that are already in that top 10 conversation when it comes to quarterback.
That
pushes him back.
It's not that Kirk is a bad thing, but we have a whole new level that we have to evaluate.
I mean,
look at what Joe Burrow's doing.
Joe Burrow's, absolutely.
Justin Herbert.
All of these young guys coming into the league, they elevate their game. They bring it every single week. It makes these guys that have been average quarterbacks in the league, they're always going to be seen as as the downfall of their team when they're not leading their team to the final grab. It's going to be
the same thing with wide receiver talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to name off a couple quarterbacks. The Derek Carr fan base is out there, and I'm a big fan of his. But like the fans of the Raiders are always going to want a little bit more. Tennessee Titans, we see it the same thing with Tennessee. Tannehill's a good quarterback, but he's an average quarterback in the NFL, and there's just too many young guys that are upping their game. We see that around the NFL. I think that's just kind of where we're at with the quarterback position right now. And yeah, it's great to have a guy like that because you have a nice standard of living. Your quarterback isn't going to lose you a game really ever, but
But to know you're going into a primetime moment, and for Kirk specifically too, that's like a catalyst if he struggles in those moments.
Of course.
But to say that you don't have that Josh Allen, you don't have that Pat Mahomes coming to the table, you don't have that Justin Herbert factor, so many different things. That's what I am very desperate for as a fan. I would love to see that because I had to check myself when it comes to Kirk because a lot of stat heads will come at you after Kirk, saying that he had a better season than Brett Favre did whenever he was with Minnesota back in, I think it was 2013 perhaps, that few-year stint where he led us to a championship game. He had more yards. He had a way better touchdown-interception ratio, but it doesn't translate to the team success overall, though, like it should. We should have made the playoffs. This team, roster-wise, I know we've battled injuries. I know we've had a lot of stuff. We were in the driver's seat in so many different games against good teams and just couldn't do it, and that falls back in your coaching. I want Brian Flores. Let's see it happen. After last night's performance from the Rams, though, I believe we are going to get their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he would be a good pick. I think, just looking at the coaching options, just to broaden it out a little bit farther past just our two teams, because obviously,
of course.
There's Broncos fans, there's other teams that
Broncos
are
getting
out.
Dan Quinn.
I think there's 8 teams right now that don't have a coach right now, and that includes the Raiders technically, although they might re-sign their guy. There's going to be some good hires. Obviously, Brian Flores is going to have a starting head coaching job somewhere if he wants it. I think you can expect the same thing from a Brian Daboll. He'll probably be there, the Bills OC for all those years. Probably, I don't...
Looking for Brian Leftwich to make
Brian Leftwich, I think, is ready and should... Yeah, it's got to... I mean, honestly, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. You just mentioned Dan Quinn. Don't love that. I think, I saw enough from Atlanta that I need more than one good year, and it was a great year. I don't want to take anything away from Dan Quinn, but he did also have a lot of talent at every level. I mean, I know they could probably use another piece on that D line, but I mean, they have talent at every single level. So I
think he's good where he's at. I think that there's sometimes...
I think they need another year. I would have liked to see him a little...
just be a better positions coach or side of the ball.
He'll be a head coach. I mean, he's gotten every...
He already has like 5 interviews.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going everywhere. The OC for Dallas, I mean, he's gone to a lot of places. Kenny Moore, I believe.
Kellen Moore,
thank you. Again, Same kind of story with Kellen Moore. I don't think the Dallas's offense is that, it's not mind blowing. It's not incredible. They don't rewrite the NFL rules every week as far as schematics. So I don't know that I love him being trotted out as this offensive mastermind. But hey, we'll see how it goes. All right, let's switch gears here to the teams that are in the playoffs right now and moving forward. We're gonna hop on Bovada here, and we're gonna do a little bit of just random picks. Like we don't have a plan here. I was looking at it a little bit before we hit record, but first thing, just looking at the conference winners, which that's kind of how we're gonna do. What's your Super Bowl pick? Let's start there.
Well, not even looking at the odds off the rip. My Super Bowl preseason was the Chiefs and Rams, and I'm going to stick with it and say Chiefs and Rams.
Yeah, so Chiefs are at plus 65, plus 165 to win the AFC Championship. They are favorite. The Rams are at plus 320 behind both the Packers and the Bucks, which I guess makes sense. But I don't know. Do you combine those? You parlay that? It's 1,000 to 1, or excuse me, plus 1,000, so 10 to 1 to get both of those. That's a pretty good bet. I don't know why, and you're gonna tell me I'm crazy. I know the odds are not in their favor.
Oh, God.
Cincinnati Bengals. I keep going back and forth on this. I really do, because there's part of me that wants to buy the dip, because the Bengals all year they've been good. They win a bunch of games. They look explosive, and then the next week they come out flat, and they aren't able to get it going offensively or really defensively. It's the reason they aren't a top end team in the AFC right now. That's why they were in the wild card conversation. Well, no, they won their division, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Either way, they had enough dips where it was like, man, if they could have played consistently the way they put the beat down this past week, they put the beat down on the Steelers, the Rams, they did it consistently throughout the year. Well, they did it throughout the year. They didn't do it consistently throughout the year. So part of me is like, okay, buy the dip. This is going to be a down week for the Bengals just because I've seen it all year.
Yeah.
The other part of me thinks this is an offense that could truly be just on fire right now. Jamar Chase next to unstoppable, going up against the Tennessee Titans offense that look they have been awesome all year. Their defense has been great specifically, and yeah, the Titans can run the ball really well, and the Bengals are not great at stopping the run. But if the Bengals can get out to an early lead, they can probably control that game. Maybe they beat the Titans in Tennessee first. That's the only team they get the first round bye, coming off maybe a little bit stale. You don't know there, and then it's one game away from the Super Bowl. Am I crazy for thinking the Bengals to get to the Super Bowl is like a fun bet at plus 550?
No, I mean, what I want to say right off the rip is yes.
Yes, I am crazy.
Well, yeah, that you're crazy just because it's hard to think. But then again, there's only 8 teams left.
Yeah,
that's really just where we're at right now. And the Bengals have contended against a lot of these teams they can go toe to toe with. Unlikely, of course. Do I think that the game script goes with the Titans this week? I do. I think the Titans, with Derrick Henry coming back, he is going to be fresh, ready to go, good to go. The Bengals struggle with stopping the run. I think the Titans are going to be able to control the ball, utilize the play action, keep it going, and they're going to put the pressure on the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow to answer. I think that they're going to have to now, and the Titans secondary is very sus. They're very suspect. So, who knows what's going to happen there? I expect Jamar Chase to have a day like he always does. Could be a close game, and if they do get past the Titans, you're one game away.
Yeah.
And if their opponent's the Packers, I've talked about that game that they played early on in the regular season.
The Packers or
the Packers and Bengals, where it was they went to overtime,
yeah.
6 missed field goals back to back,
yeah.
very early on. But at that point, we were wondering if the Packers were playing down to the Bengals level. Maybe this entire time, it's just the Bengals showing us that they do have championship caliber play in them, riding on their superstars. I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think so. I think a better bet is to go to the NFC side of the ball and look at the San Francisco 49ers. I was
going to ask that, yeah.
At plus 600. You have the Bengals at plus 550, the 49ers at plus 600. I think the 49ers are mean, nasty, with their defense travels well, their offense is efficient, and their coaching. Their coaching gives them so... You got to think the Rams divisional matchup. They always play them. They play them twice a year. They'll be ready to go for that one. The Packers. Kyle Shanahan has the Packers number. They have played under the lights primetime many times, and the 49ers have thrashed them. I think Aaron Rodgers got the better of them one time in 3 matchups so far.
Yeah, this is a big matchup for the Packers. I think the Packers were praying the Cowboys would win. They did not want to see San Francisco. And I don't know, maybe they wouldn't have even played the Cowboys either way, but they didn't want to face San Francisco. I guarantee you that this is not a good matchup for the Packers. But I mean, it does feel like this is the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour a little bit, and I guess we were kind of saying that a little bit last year. But after all the things that happened in the offseason, it does, like, part of me is like, it's kind of the same story where, like, I could see it going either way. The fact that it's plus 600 does feel a little bit disrespectful to how good the 49ers
are better than the Bengals.
Yeah.
If you look at them on paper. So for them for them to be lower is
and the thing is, I know they can beat the Rams because they've done it, and I do believe they can beat up a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I don't think Tampa Bay gets past the Rams with just the amount of injuries that they have. That's like the most confident I am about any of these games coming into divisional weekend. But it is interesting, and I do, we're so close. We're 3 game weeks away from making, from the Super Bowl. Yeah. And there's a lot of different variables, and it is fun to look at, see, on Bovada here and see, the Rams are at plus 320 to get to the Super Bowl. And then the Titans are at plus, 320 to get to the Super Bowl. Combine those, that makes it a plus 1,600 to get to that matchup in the Super Bowl, which would be really, really interesting.
It's out of 8 teams right here. There's a lot of money to be made, just depending on which ones you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you did the Chiefs-Packers alone, you're still making some good money, and that's the most favorable outcome as of now, with Chiefs being plus 165, Packers being 150. It's good. There's money to be made. The team that I'm surprised that they put at 230 is the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Their injuries, I am so worried that they're just decimated top to bottom, and Tom Brady, he has his work cut out for him, I think, in this playoffs.
Yeah,
he has nothing else to prove legacy-wise. Nothing at all whatsoever. But if you want to add to it, this would speak volumes. It really would.
All right, divisional game, high-scoring team, divisional weekend. You got 8 teams to choose from. Who you taking?
I feel like the Rams and Bucks I'm going to take out of that because I do think that it's going to be kind of slower feel-out process. Defense might take over a little bit.
Okay.
Bengals-Titans actually can be a sneaky choice for one of those teams to do it, just because that I could see a shootout. If I had to pick one out of those, it would be the Bengals. But I'm going to ride with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills coming off of one of the most impressive cold weather game performances I have ever seen in my life. They were playing Madden on rookie mode. All of their drives went for touchdowns except for the one before half where they ran out the clock and the one at the very end where they need the ball for the win.
Wow.
You don't see that stuff. Yeah. That is unheard of. Josh Allen had 5 touchdowns. He had 4 incompletions. If he can keep that and go into Arrowhead and do that again, sky's the limit. They can hang 40. I think 40 gets it, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, probably. I think all these defenses, we're getting to the point where, especially on the NFC side, all these defenses are good.
Yes.
I don't
like the defenses in the AFC.
Yeah, the defense, it feels like it's going to be an AFC team to get there. Maybe Green Bay puts the whooping on San Francisco. I don't see it going the other way. Well, I mean, it's happened before. I think it was championship weekend a couple years ago when San Francisco went to the Super Bowl.
The 49ers smacked them.
They smacked, I mean, they put
Aaron
up 40.
Rodgers had one of his worst games. He threw like 2 or 3 interceptions. It was a big curtain call for him, kind of.
Yeah, so that's interesting. The Bills are at plus 400 here on Bovada, just if you're wanting to price that out a little bit.
Who's your team? You got to pick one. I picked the Bills. I mean,
I'll take.
Speculate.
I'm always the guy who looks at the deeper odds and says, man, I'll take the 11-1 shot. I'm going to take the Bengals. Yeah. Bengals over Tennessee. I can see that game going a certain way where the Bengals are a team they've proven already this year. They want to run up the score. So I, first of all, think that's a very real possibility. And I do think the Bengals, the way that the Bengals win this game is by, making it a foot race and, just blowing the doors out of Tennessee. So that's like one of those things where it's like, do I really honestly think, I think the odds are right there. I think 1,100 is probably about right, but I also see a scenario where that happens.
I wish that Bovada had something where I could bet on how many yards Janoris Jenkins gives up on the game, because Jamar Chase torched Desmond Trufant last week, and Janoris Jenkins is... I've gone to a lot of Titans games this year. I'm going to this game in the divisional round. I'm very excited for it. I have seen Janoris Jenkins falter time and time again, though, and he has his work cut out for him. There's a realm where the Bengals light them up.
All right, so this is probably my favorite bet of the divisional weekend specials here. Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon to combine for 150 rushing yards at plus 100. That's even odds, 1-to-1 odds. It just feels like Derrick Henry's almost guaranteed for 120. Like, I know that's ridiculously high number to say. If Derrick Henry plays, he's playing one of the worst run games in the NFL. I do think that is the ticket to the Titans winning this game. I don't see the Titans going into this game and thinking any other way.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I think the Bengals are probably going to go into this game thinking we need to go out swinging, we need to run or pass early and often. So I don't imagine Joe Mixon is going to hit his total. But if Joe Mixon only needs 25, 30 yards, I feel very confident he'll get that. Especially if, regardless, I feel like that's a very, very good bet.
Yeah, I would have to go look at it separately. And I mean, I imagine Derrick Henry's over-under, even in spite of the injury, his over-under sit right at 100. It's usually like 103.5 or something like that.
You might get a discount this week because he's been out.
Exactly. So you might get the discount. They might put him around 80, something like.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry can smash this out of the park all on his own.
Yeah.
The narrative that could be there, though, is that Derrick Henry gets out to an early lead. They do their thing, and then maybe they pull him because of like some snap counts.
Yeah.
And then the Bengals might be down, pass-heavy offense. They don't get utilized as much. But at 1-to-1 odds, 150 yards, you got to take that.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering what they know that we don't. There's always something.
Yeah.
There's always a thing. I don't know what it is.
To me, the more I kind of talked about
too
it,
good to be true.
I was so high on Derrick Henry. I might just wait to see because it's not out yet. I might just wait to see what the odds for Derrick Henry to hit his number. I would imagine, like you said, if it is under 100, I might probably just prefer to bet that by itself at minus 110, 115, because that's close enough to 1-to-1.
Mixon is capable of doing that, taking care of it. It's just a matter of, is it in the game plan?
This is one that I saw before we started the pod that I like, and this is one of those where you're like, hey, calm down a little. Any offensive lineman to have a receiving touchdown. This is my logic, all right? It's at plus 1,200, which I understand by itself. Like, maybe those odds aren't crazy, 12-to-1 for an offensive lineman, but it's any one. 8 teams, any single one could get down to the goal line and have a nice little package where the offensive lineman gets to score. I know it doesn't happen every week, but we already saw a really, really interesting play call from the Chiefs where it did happen. The Chiefs had the offensive lineman basically guarding on an island a little bit and throws I think it was TJ Watt. I think he throws TJ Watt to the ground, turns around, is in the end zone, and he's technically playing tight end, so he's an eligible receiver, and Mahomes finds him. It was a really smart play call because the lineman is blocking a all-pro defensive end. He certainly doesn't look like a receiver, and then all of a sudden he goes open. The defensive end is worrying about guarding this offensive lineman.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's open in the end zone. It was a cool little design. I truly believe somebody will replicate that, and with that possibility of it being replicated by there, and then on top of the fact that the Titans seem to do it a couple times a year, Rams are every single one of these teams are capable of pulling off a clever little play like that. I know you're saying I'm crazy. I like that bet at plus 1,200.
I mean, there's a chance. There's always a chance, and we get to see those little gimmick. That's where the gimmick plays come in. Those are the things that you run right at the end of practice that everyone kind of has a little laugh at getting to do, and now you get to put those to practice. I really like. Which one was it? It's the so I can't see the rest of it, so I don't know what the Matthew Stafford part is. But Aaron Donald to get 1 sack, and what is the rest of it?
Matthew Stafford threw 3
touchdowns.
Oh,
not 3 touchdowns.
That's weird.
I didn't want it to be 3. If it's
at plus
3, it
450, that's a weird odds.
Yeah, it should be more than that.
Yeah, I don't like those odds.
Come on, Bovada.
I do agree. Anywhere else you want to go with just these specials?
I want to look at. I think we need to do our picks. We need to look at the lines.
All right, let's get to the actual games, man. Yeah. All right, Chiefs, Titans.
Bengals, Titans.
Why did I say Chiefs?
I already know what you're going to say, so go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I think this is a down week for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's the ebb and flow.
Say the truth. Say the truth. We're not doing that. Say the truth.
I think the Bengals are going to win.
That's what I
know I'm dumb, but I think the Bengals are going to win this football game. And at plus 3.5, look, the money line is very enticing to me at plus 168, and I think this line is going to go down, honestly. I think the Bengals are going to get a lot of the money just because they've won the most recently, and the Titans people probably have a bad taste in the Titans, in their mouth about the Titans just in general.
Pretty.
Yeah, because it just hasn't been pretty all year. I get it. Like, everything in my head says buy the dip. It's going to be bad this week. The Bengals haven't been consistent all year. And then I just think, Well, this is Joe Burrow's first time in championship, environment since he was in college, and it worked out pretty freaking well in college. Can say the exact same thing about Jamar, can say the exact same thing about, T. Higgins, and T. Higgins had some good championship play as well. Maybe not that same year, but he definitely, he was in big moments. Exactly. I look at this entire offense and think, man, offensive line is actually getting healthy at the right time. Joe Mixon has been a stud all year. And then you look at the other side and they have some guys on the defensive line that have been playing really well, can get after the quarterback. I'm their linebacker core is a little weak to my knowledge. I'm not 100% on that, but overall their defense has played pretty well, and their offense I think can be a powerhouse. I think that's what it's turning into. I think this is Chiefs light right now.
I get what you're saying. I really do. I see all of it. There's a world where that happens. 100%. I think the most likely one, though, is that Derrick Henry comes back. The Titans do what they do. Mike Vrabel is undefeated in his head coaching career coming off of a bye week. I know it's hard to equate that to playoff first-round byes. The Titans don't get that. This is the first time that's a thing. But if we could carry over the bye week preparation, I think that the Titans got to be prepared for this. They got to be ready. They have a very elite front seven. Mm-hmm. The front seven is going to have to get some cover. They're going to have to step up and help the secondary, because not a lot of coverage sacks are going to be happening in this game. It's going to come down to different blitz packages and schemes. I think the Titans take care of business here.
I agree. All right, 49ers, Packers. Hit me up. Packers favored by 6 points here at home.
Yeah, give me the San Francisco 49ers, and it's exactly what I said before in saying I do want Aaron Rodgers to go out there, just not give two shits and toss the ball around like he does and take care of business. I think the 49ers are a very scary team right now. Nick Bosa is playing out of his mind. The Packers offensive line, they have a lot of pieces that they're moving around. They're kind of banged up right now. I'm scared. Maybe they're able to get healthy over that week. But listen, Kyle Shanahan has their number. The biggest factor behind this game would be playing at Lambeau.
Yeah.
I can say that. So maybe the 49ers aren't accustomed to those elements.
And at the end of the day, I can see the Packers winning this game and still not, and the 49ers covering 6 points. That's a lot of points, I think.
Yeah, that's no matter what, I'm taking this.
But you really think the 49ers win this game?
I think the 49ers can outright win this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I really do.
I was not expecting you to agree with that.
No, I do. It's tough because, I've been, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I watch him every Tuesday.
It feels like the Packers struggle in some of these big games.
Yeah, I do agree.
They're always 13-3. They always get here. They always are one of the best teams in the league. They either do it this week or they will do it next week on championship weekend. I
think they either. I really do think this is the buzzsaw or it's the Rams are the buzzsaw. I really do think that they're going to run to a buzzsaw.
I think they can get past
just because I'm looking at history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking Rams because I think that's the next one we got to talk about. Mm-hmm. Rams, Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 3. I think this.
You got to go first.
I think this is the Rams here, man. I really do. I know we're picking between the two of us. We're picking a lot of underdogs here, but I really just don't see the Buccaneers winning this football game. And again, it just comes down to injuries. Obviously, a healthy Buccaneers team, fully equipped, would be really, really interesting matchup and a fun matchup, and maybe a little bit. The line would be a little bit different. But I look at this Rams football team as a defense that is very, very good. Raheem Morris is doing a really good job with those Rams. And then on the other side, Matthew Stafford looked immaculate. Now, granted, the Cardinals fell apart and it didn't look like he worked a whole, really hard on it, but they performed really, really well. Cam Akers looked awesome coming off of injury. I've seen enough to think that I think they are good. It's a tougher matchup. The defensive line is obviously a lot better for the Buccaneers, and that could change some things, but at the end of the day, I do think the Rams win this game outright, and I'll take the 3 points.
These are my two favorite teams in the playoffs, and it just so happens they're having to play right now, divisional weekend. It's tough. It's hard to bet against Tom Brady and the legacy and the preparation. They are so banged up, though. They are so banged up. I will say this. I think whichever team can establish the run wins this game. 100%. I know everyone's coming down to Cooper Kupp and Gronkowski, Tom Brady, all of that other stuff. When these teams played last time in the regular season, the Buccaneers won. Tom Brady had the most rushing yards.
Yeah.
That should not be a thing.
No.
I think we know what both of these teams really like to do is run the ball. It's true. Leonard Fournette coming back, they like to establish it, control that game clock, and just move about the field, I guess, methodically and efficiently.
Based on that, I would actually, if I'm basing it just on the ability to establish the run, which I actually do ultimately agree with, I think that's probably the Bucs' best chance of winning this game is their ability to stop the run.
Tristan Wirfs is hurt.
Well, I'm talking defensively.
He's in a walking boot. I know. I'm gonna ride with the Buccaneers though.
You are betting the Buccaneers?
I'm going to ride with the Buccaneers.
All right, so we disagree on 2 so far?
3-point wise, I take the Rams.
Yeah. Oh, so you think? Wow, you're threading the needle there, huh?
Thin margin, isn't it?
Thin margin. So you think it's a little bit of a coin flip?
Yes,
I think
it's coin flip. I'm going to go with Bucks.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Last game here: Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 2.5 points. This is the toughest one for me. Both teams played absolutely awesome versus their competition in Wild Card Weekend, and I don't have a good feel for who's going to win this game. It's very similar a little bit to what I was talking about with the Bengals, where we've seen good Bills and we've seen bad Bills, and the Chiefs. You could say that a little bit, but I mean they've evened out. Though. We haven't seen bad Chiefs in 3 months now, so I feel pretty confident that of what Chiefs I'm going to get. I still don't know what Buffalo Bills I'm going to get, and that's my big question.
Man, Bovada thinks this thing is going to be an absolute barn burner at over under 55 points.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to touch that for sure. I mean, because I feel like it's one of those things that's so in your face and it always goes the opposite. It's like there's got to be like 600 total passing yards, right, in this game. You would think. Who knows? This could end up being one of those weird, ugly 21-17 kind of feels just because. You got to stick with Pat Mahomes. I'm sorry. As much as I like Josh Allen and the superstar and the way that he was just able to play, I think you got to ride Kansas City at Arrowhead. They just have too many different ways.
Yeah.
Two different ways they can do it.
Parlay it all at plus 1,200. You like it?
Yeah, I will do a 4-leg parlay on the matchups for sure.
You know what? I'll go one step further. We think you think the 49ers are going to win outright, right?
If you throw that in there, you're going to get some of course.
It goes up to 2,000.
Yeah.
Man, just betting the money line alone is tough.
If you went money lines, whew.
Which, granted, we have a lot of underdogs.
Come on, now think about it, though. How hard is it to pick 4 games?
Fucking tough. I mean, these are tough games. I don't know.
I agree. They are very tough.
I could see myself being completely wrong.
You could get a lot of money, though, if you base it off of and just do it, set up three parlays for you. Put $25 on each, and if one of those hits, take the games that you in your heart feel most certain about, the teams that you think are going to win, and then just do 3 different modified versions of it. I do that a lot.
I mean, I could see myself taking $100, betting 25 each time, because the parlay that I have right now is 25 to win, 794. Now, granted, that's 3 underdogs and a Chiefs winning. So 3 underdogs in the favor, but favorite's only 2.5 points.
Entertain me then and just do favorites. Just do a 4-leg parlay with the favorites.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see how that would look. 1 second, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry about that. Let's go back here. Let's close.
It's right there.
Okay, so let's do.
All I gotta do is click off the other.
Yeah, you're right. Bovada makes it easy. So if you take all favorites, so the lowest your line's going to be is plus 511. So that's 25 to win 127. So at the end of the day, if you can hit on one of your 4 bets, you're going to win money no matter what. Even if you take all favorites, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take all favorites. I don't think all the favorites will win this game.
I don't either. I don't.
Yeah.
I think the most likely outcome would be to do all favorites and then swap Rams.
Yeah. And really, if you truly wanted to do you're saying do all favorites and swap Rams to Bucks.
No, I know what you're about to say. You're about to say if you truly want to do all favorites, take the spread on the favorites too and say that they covered.
Well, I was just gonna say take the Titans and Packers have the biggest minus. So if you really think like the Titans are gonna cover, the Titans at minus 200, you can get that at minus 110, make the odds a little nicer, and all they have to do is win by 3.5, which
a lot of money to be made out there, man.
Yeah, and granted, I never I always get caught doing this kind of stuff and then get burned a little bit.
Overthink it.
But
yeah.
I do think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to bet 4 bets, $100 and 25 each, and see if I can hit one of them. And my favorite one is the one I already showed, which I am going to take Bengals. I do think the 49ers can win that game against the Packers. And I'm going to take... I'm going to take Rams and Chiefs.
It was 25 to win,
25. So then I just have one that I'm praying
794.
And then 3 that are like, okay, I would still win money with that.
794.
794 with the $25 bet. Fuck it, make it 100. That's where I fuck up. Is I look at it as like, oh, I could see that happening.
$3,100.
This is in real time how my gambling addiction happened, because I see, oh, well, I could bet a reasonable amount of money to win a reasonable amount of money, or I could say, oh, $100, which $100 isn't a lot to me,
quick.
But if you bet it a bunch of times, it certainly adds up.
Yeah.
Man,
I know if you bet that and the Bengals and the 49ers, you nailed your 2 upsets going into Sunday, you'd be looking at that cash out button.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I just hedge.
Yeah,
I would hedge the right way.
Hedge, yeah.
I would hedge. Oh man, yeah. No, that would be tough.
That'd be hard to do.
Very, very hard to do. I'd
like to be in that spot, though.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. All right, so couple games on Saturday, couple games on Sunday. That's all we have. All right, bonus content here, because I wanted to bring this up at the beginning of the show, but I just have a question for you. I just recorded my mock draft and put it out today. Did a mock draft. I'm doing mock draft Mondays every single week. If you're interested in that, like and subscribe to the channel. And I did a mock draft heavy quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. And the quarterback I gave the Minnesota Vikings was Desmond Ridder. And I don't know how many of the quarterbacks you've watched. Do you hate that? Now, I did it at 12. Like I said, my goal going into that mock was I'm going to have 5 quarterbacks drafted in the top 20. Have? You have 12. Or 12 or, yeah, it's 12.
I like that.
You like that, wow. Desmond Ridder? Now, Desmond Ridder, he's not being projected as a first-round pick, but Desmond Ridder is like the guy that has, great mobility,
he's raw
big
upside.
Arm.
It's the raw upside.
Exactly. Yes. That's exactly what it is. He's the raw upside guy.
And I really, really like Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, give it to me. If there's a way that we're able to maneuver around and, get rid of this Kirk Cousins deal.
Now, in this scenario, I think you would have to have Kirk Cousins for a year. Because we've already seen, Kellen Mond has been there for a year, and who do you have starting over Kellen Mond? Sean Mannion. So, the Kellen Mond experiment's over, I feel like. And now,
I do too. We took a third round pick on it, and it was just kind of like, if Zimmer...
You had 3 third-round picks.
As rude as he was with it, I do believe it, he was well aware that he was coaching for his job.
Yeah.
And he must have not seen enough out of Kellen Mond to say, I trust you with my job.
Yeah.
Over Sean Mannion.
And granted, I'm sure the next organization will get a look at him, but at this point, whoever comes in, not his guy, not his draft pick,
and he's not that high of a pick. Yeah.
And
it's not like the Bears and Justin Fields,
Exactly. Yeah. So there's no expectation to have any value there. So yeah, that's just I just thought I'd put it out there. Now this is the same mock draft where I had a Carson Strong get drafted.
Now what the Vikings are really going to do is go corner though. We need corner. Out of all the years that we actually need corner, and this is a very good cornerback class. It really is. I want Roger McCreary for the Vikings a lot.
I don't think he goes that early. Maybe he does. I haven't watched him yet, but there's 3 right now that are getting mocked.
If we got Sauce, I'd be ecstatic.
Sauce would be awesome. I think he'll definitely be there. I think the one you want is Booth Jr. Booth is my number 1. The guy out of Clemson.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of AJ Terrell too, and he went 16 to the Falcons.
Yeah. I think he's a dude. He's big, strong, fast, all those things. All right, we're getting out of our comfort zone here. We're going to be talking a lot of draft as this podcast goes through the off season. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Underdog Podcast for hosting us. We really appreciate it. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Peace.
7.